What are some of the cognitive biases that you learned about in that AP class? I'm really curious. I've always been fascinated by that.
Oh man, there's so many of them.
Like what stands out to you the most?
One is there's something called Dunning-Kruger, where basically the idea is that people at really low levels of aptitude dramatically overestimate their competence, and people at higher levels of aptitude probably underestimate their confidence. My favorite way to see this play out in real life is if you ask somebody, I don't know if this is the case, but for my life, if you ask somebody like, hey, somebody brings up like Spanish, do you speak Spanish? And somebody's like, yeah, actually I speak a pretty decent amount. 99% of the time somebody gives an answer like that is they took like up to Spanish 3 in high school. And they're like, donde el biblioteca or whatever. Yeah. But I know a lot of people like, my mom is a good example. If I ask my mom, like, mom, how good is your Spanish? She'll be like, oh, it's okay. My mom is a fluent Spanish speaker. She just doesn't know some technical terms or whatever, but she'll say, oh, it's okay. That like on foreign language, when you ask people, I notice that a lot. That if I ask somebody, do you speak a language? If they're conversationally fluent, they'll be like, I'm okay. Cause they realize like how much they don't know. That shows up in everything. Usually people have, there's like a curve for measuring this, a theoretical curve or whatever. And there's like the little bump in the beginning is called Mount Bullshit. That's where you learn a little bit about a topic. And because you've learned a little, you dramatically overestimate how much you actually know. And then as you learn more and more, you're like, oh, okay, maybe it's a lot more complicated than I initially thought. Some people call that Dunning-Kruger. That's one example. I think it's something called a fundamental attribution bias, which is where when you see, if there's a group of people that you like and they do something that's maybe not good, you've got a lot of good reasons why they did it. If you see a group of people do something that's not good, they don't get any of that consideration. So classic examples, like I'm speeding to work, I got to cut somebody up, whatever, I have to get to work, I'm driving safe, I'm doing everything I can, right? But if you're driving and you're kind of chilling and somebody cuts you off, it's like, what a piece of shit, how dangerous or blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Oh, a really good example of this, I think, oh God, I should have the study memorized, but I think there was a study where Republicans were asked to judge whether or not welfare was like okay or not. And I think if you put like a white person on the cover versus a black person, if they saw the white person, they were more likely to say like, oh, this guy's probably down on his luck, like he needs a little bit of help, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I think that's called fundamental misattribution bias. There's a whole bunch of cognitive biases in terms of like searching for information. There's the classic confirmation bias.
Of course.
So I go to search for information, 10 things pop up. I only see the things that agree with me and I don't look at anything else. There's so many different things. If you're like research, I
always find it interesting that two people could have the exact same experience, but interpret it entirely differently. The same experience, same time, they're right next to each other, two totally opposite opinions on that.
Yeah. That's frustrating, but yeah, it happens, yeah.
So